The team moves on to investigate their second alleged contactee. Cleveland, Ohio. Michael Lee Hill is a 39-year-old musician who frequents the waters of Lake Erie for inspiration. But on the night of August 18th, 2006, he sees something that changes his life, and he captures it on video. For the next few months, he films orbs over and over again that he cannot explain in the exact same location. Are these orbs the same as the ones Terrell Copeland frequently encounters over Virginia? Skeptics have claimed that these orbs can be attributed to anything, from police vehicles to airplanes, but contactees believe they are real. So the team heads to the shore of Lake Erie to get Michael's point of view firsthand.
Yeah, this is Lakeshore Reservation Park.
Some of the speculation about your footage is that you're filming lights on the other side of the lake.
You can't even see the other side of the lake.
I mean, lake's 57 miles across.
People say that your footage is helicopters and airplanes, but you say no. Why is that?
We're right next to Perry Nuclear Power Plant. And since 9/11, the terrorist attacks, there's no fly zones put around all nuclear facilities.
Perry Nuclear Power Plant is located 35 miles northeast of Cleveland. Since September 11th, TFRs, or quote, temporary flight restrictions, have been put in place around this area. According to Section 99.7 in the Code of Federal Regulations, quote, pilots must be aware of a standing notice advising them to avoid the airspace above or in proximity to sites such as nuclear power plants, dams, refineries, military installations, and other similar facilities.
The actual maneuvers that these objects are doing don't seem to fit the profile of aircraft, right?
No, they're hovering. It's one solid sphere of pulsating light. There's nothing that I know of any airplane that's flying around with one big ball of light.
Especially around a nuclear power plant.
With it difficult to attribute Michael's sightings to aircraft above the lake, the team has a credible reason to believe that Michael's repeated encounters are similar to Terrell's and may be evidence of attempted alien contact. Their next step is to compare Michael's footage to Terrell's and find out how long he has been having these experiences.
This right here is just one of the single orbs that I was telling you about. It's just one big orb of light. Another of the same objects is going to come in from the right, and it's going to hover right over top of the first one. At this point, I realize this is just crazy, so you're going to see I'm going to flip the camera right now, infrared.
What we're seeing here has
there.
similar flight characteristics to other objects that we're seeing in other places.
Terrell Copeland's down in Suffolk. I mean, this is the same. It's pulsating. It has the changing colors.
Wow.
It has the orbs coming together.
Since this encounter, Michael noticed that the activity over the lake died down for almost a year, until September of 2007, when he took this new footage, which the team is seeing for the first time.
These objects would just come up right in front of me over and over again for about an hour and a half straight. They actually kind of go dark, and you can't see them anymore, and then they'll come back, and they'll get really bright. Now, as I'm filming this, another one shows up right next to it.
Now, if these were flares, they would be floating and dropping.
The same night, we had this beautiful orange harvest moon, and these objects started showing up under the moon.
I'm worried that the second object is a ghost image in the camera.
Once I get it in frame and I got it, I'll take a peek at it.
We'll always use your binoculars.
Mike's footage is really impressive simply because of the size of Lake Erie and the fact that it's a no-fly zone. There's nothing around for something like 60 miles. And it really makes these lights that Michael Lee Hill is videotaping very remarkable.
But are these objects new, or have they been seen before? March 4th, 1988, according to the Cleveland Plain dealer, Sheila Baker sees several small triangular objects shooting out of a huge metallic gray football-shaped object descending over Lake Erie. The U.S. Coast Guard even witnesses this event and makes a written report. Quote, the smaller objects began hovering in the area where the large object landed. They appeared to be scouting the area. they were never able to fully resolve this event. The description of these objects approaching the lake is eerily similar to Michael's footage from August 18, 2006. But Michael's encounters go further back than the team realizes.
I've had contact my whole life.
Have they uncovered a level 5 contactee? The team is in Cleveland, Ohio, and they've just seen footage by Michael Lee Hill of strange objects hovering over Lake Erie. These types of spheres have been seen before, and the team believes he may be experiencing early stages of contact, just like Terrell Copeland of Suffolk, Virginia. But Michael reveals his experience with contact goes much deeper than Terrell's.
I know this is gonna sound weird, but I've had contact my whole life. I got memories of what we'd consider graves now. I woke up, I was getting ready, I looked down and there's blood on the floor. So I wiped it up, went about my business, started to brush my teeth, I looked down, there's more blood. I could never find any incisions or anything weird. A couple days after that, I woke up, actually like during people working on me. And I was in a bed, strapped down, and I just told this being that was right here to my right, I said, listen, I'm awake, I'm aware, I know what you're doing, and it hurts.
So have you had any subsequent contact?
One of the weirdest things that have happened is I walked out my back door and there was a little plasma device hovering by my studio. There's 2 spheres on either side of it with a shaft, and each sphere looked like a plasma ball.
Are these spheres outside Michael's home the same spheres Terrell is seeing?
I drive up to this orb, the orb becomes 2 orbs.
We've heard this over and over again. People describe some kind of luminescent light that doesn't actually radiate light.
It emanates light, it's internal. Now you have the sense that these objects are showing up almost as a contact to you to guide you along.
I know that they know I'm filming them. If I really think I'm in contact with something higher and you didn't listen, that would be probably the stupidest thing you could possibly ever do.
After investigating the claims of 2 independent contactees, Terrell Copeland of Suffolk, Virginia, and Michael Lee Hill of Cleveland, Ohio, the team has reassembled in Boston for the final step in the investigation. The team breaks into 2 groups to bring their subjects to the hospital. Terrell is scheduled to undergo a thorough examination led by one of the leading doctors in the cardiopulmonary field, Dr. David Systrom.
We're at Massachusetts General Hospital. We're meeting with Dr. David Systrom, who's the director of the Cardiopulmonary Exercise Laboratory.
Terrell has a history of an elevated level of the enzyme creatine kinase in his blood, a rare disorder that is usually indicative of muscle damage. But how does it relate to alien contact? The team is looking to see if the enzyme is still present today, and for an explanation if it is, one that Terrell's military doctors could not provide. Dr. Systrom has set up a series of tests for exactly this purpose.
This particular test is a pretty good one at saying, A, are you normal or not compared to people of your age and your body size? A lot of times with disorders of muscle and heart and lungs, we'll only find abnormalities with the stress of exercise. We'll take him up until he can't go any further, and then we hope to get some answers at peak exercise. If there is an abnormality, we can begin to point at the nature of the abnormality. We can determine whether it's your lungs limiting you, whether it's your heart limiting you, or whether it's your muscle limiting you. And that's the important one, I think, from the sound of your history, that we're going to determine whether there's an abnormality of muscle metabolism here.
As Terrell completes his testing, Michael arrives to have his blood drawn for a full analysis as well.
Shortly before we investigated your case in Cleveland, we went out to visit a young ex-Marine in Virginia who's also experiencing UFO sightings, and the video that we looked at seems very similar.
Wow.
However, Terrell, the other gentleman, has a rare blood anomaly.
Right.
So seeing as how you are experiencing UFOs and visitation, we think that you may also have some kind of blood anomaly.
We're going to get Michael Lee Hill's blood tested as well. And if he has high levels of the enzyme CK, that could be the real key to this case.
Interesting thing today is that we have an elevation of the creatine kinase again. But the peculiar thing now, if we're 7 to 8 years out, for it to persist is most unusual.
Normally, elevation of creatine kinase is a sign of muscular injury. For it to have persisted in Terrell's blood for this long suggests that there is another problem altogether.
I'm wondering if the one patient and Terrell Copeland's blood, what you found either similar or dissimilar about their tests.
There was a marker of generic inflammation, not specifically of the muscle, that was abnormally elevated.
Both tests show that Terrell and Michael have an elevation of the enzyme in their blood.
I think that's as far as I can take it in terms of comparisons.
Though the doctor will not speculate if there's a connection between the elevated levels in the two blood samples or what the source of the anomaly could have been, both Terrell and Michael have the elevated enzyme in common. With these surprising results in, the team decides it's time to bring Terrell and Michael together for the very first time.
Both of you are not abductees, you're contactees. Very unique.
I've seen different crafts, different shapes, sizes. A lot of times I know they're out because whenever I feel this, it's not an energy that you can hear, but you can feel it. And I know that they're out. I think it's some type of communication. Every year it's kind of progressed where they've got closer and closer. I truly believe that that's what all this is leading to, a meeting with biological entities. You have no doubt that something's in communication with you because it will grow to the point where it'll take all doubt away.
Now that Terrell and Michael have discovered they share similar experiences of contact, the team reveals the astonishing results of their tests.
We found something pretty interesting. In both cases, you have an elevated level of CK, or what's called creatine kinase. Terrell, in your case, because we were able to do those cardiopulmonary tests, Dr. Sistrom felt this elevated level of CK was directly related to your muscle tissue. Mike, in your case, he didn't have enough information to know what the source of your elevated CK was. He just figured it was a more general sort of systemic elevation. Perhaps you could share some kind of common, unusual physiological trait in your blood.
Didn't this just prove that? I mean,